Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Alegria in Kansas City. I'm your host, Fabian Shepard, and as you know, on this program, our goal is to educate, inform, or inspire you. Today, we hope to do one of those three. Our guest today is Ron Olberding of Wayne, help me out.
Edward Wayne Incorporated.
Edward Wayne Incorporated. We went over that and I blew it again. So, Ron Olberding of Edward Wayne Incorporated, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yep, and as we welcome you to this program, we're going to talk a little bit about your background initially, but what you're doing now is you're helping to protect citizens all across America with a product, a safety device to protect them while they're in their homes or while their homes are locked and they're away from home.
Correct.
Now, you began your career as a home builder.
Correct.
Tell us a little bit about that. Was that the family business or?
Yes, my father was a home builder, and when I come from a large family, and so when the brothers and I were old enough, we were out working on the framing crews during the summertime. So went to college at Kansas State to get out of construction, but I ended up back in construction. So, we built homes residentially here since 1994 or 5, and so we've been in the industry our whole lives, and I grew up in it.
All right, so your family was home builders. You made your way there from Kansas State.
Yes.
And then while you were building homes, you discovered a need for this additional security. Can you talk about that, how we got to the point of you doing these security devices in homes?
Yeah, well, kind of how we got involved with it was back in the fall of '96. There were 4 homes that were broken into, and 4 women were sexually assaulted in Overland Park. And so, they had a town hall meeting. 750 residents showed up and wanted to know what they could do to make their homes more secure. And so law enforcement was tasked, the crime prevention unit was tasked with going out and figuring out, doing security surveys, how to secure these homes. And they kept coming across specific types of doors that they had no idea how to secure. And it's what's called a side-lighted door unit.
Side-lighted door unit. Is that with the glass on the sides?
Correct. It's like a 3-foot wide door with like little 12-inch glass panels on either side. And at the time, they were recommending running 3-inch screws through your frame, through your strike plate to attach it. And, with the side-lighted door unit, the mole post that separates the door from the side light is only 1.5 inches thick. And so you can't run a 3-inch screw through there. So they had no idea how to secure that. So the law enforcement crime prevention unit got permission from this Overland Park City Council to go to the private sector to see if anybody would be willing to step up and figure out a way to secure these specific types of doors. They went to the Home Builders Association. One of the board of directors of the home HBA was a man named Tom O'Malley, who owned Locks and Poles. Tom O'Malley and I were working on another door project, not necessarily pertaining to security, but a door project nonetheless. And that's why Tom O'Malley reached out to me and asked if I could figure out a way to secure these side-lighted door units. And I did.
Well, and those are popular, those side-lighted door units. I know that we have one.
Yes.
And it would be difficult to screw anything in because you're going to hit glass.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this device attaches, is it at the base, at the top? How does this work?
Well, we have a couple different products for side-lighted door units. One's what we call our new construction unit. And when they're building the door frames or assembling the unit at the millwork company, our product actually sandwiches in between the 2 jambs. And so there's what they call a box frame unit. And so they actually have 3 boxes, 1 box for the side light and 1 box for the other side light and then a box for the door. Our product sandwiches in between those 2 jambs. They just attach it. It runs the full length of the jamb, and then they mold the units together and then attach the hinges and the strike plates to that reinforcing plate that's sandwiched in between the jambs. That's for new construction box frame units. And then they also have what's known as a continuous sill system, where it's just a 1-piece mole post. And so we have a retrofit application that we use for new construction and or retrofit. Because one of the main things that they wanted was a way to secure doors that had already been installed. And so we have a product that it's a surface mounted product on the inside of the door. And, without pictures, it's hard to explain, but it replaces a normal mole center strip on the inside. And so we attach it, and every product that we have has been tested to the hurricane impact standard by Underwriters Laboratory, which is 350 foot-pounds. And to give you an idea how much that is, a person my size in my younger days, I used to be able to kick right around 2 to 225 foot-pounds. So it's almost double in fact, our product has never failed. We actually, the only thing that's really ever failed is either the deadbolt or the door itself. And we quickly realized that not all deadbolts are created equal either. And so we started testing different brands of hardware, different types of door, whether it's steel or fiberglass or solid wood. And I think, probably over the years, destroyed a couple hundred doors and doing all this testing. And so pretty knowledgeable about what works and what doesn't.
Now, you've had law enforcement help you with this, right?
Yeah.
You've had experts that were testing these products.
Correct.
And it sounds like you've got aftermarket, after things are installed, like you said, but you also have things that are constructed that way and ready for the build.
Yeah, new construction, our product's attached right at the millwork company, and then they ship it out already installed. And then when they're building the house, the framing carpenters typically install the door, and then there are a few extra steps that you have to do once the door is installed, specifically shimming and in the right proper places to make sure the door's anchored solidly to the house.
Okay, so let's go back to the inspiration for this.
Okay.
You mentioned there were 4 people sexually assaulted. Someone broke into their home. Now, this was in
Overland Park.
In the city of Overland Park.
Yes.
And this was 1997.
96 when they were broken into. I was contacted in March of 97.
Okay.
So a few months later.
So then your company saw the need. You already were working on something similar to that.
Not dealing with security. It
Okay.
was just a locking device for a different type of door system. And so our company hadn't even been born yet. Our company was born as a result of these break-ins and the products that we designed to secure these homes.
Gotcha. And so you filled that need.
Yes.
To help people be safer in their homes.
Yes.
And what's the reception been like for the product?
To the homeowner, it's been fantastic, especially on homes where there have been attempted break-ins with our product on there. And we've got several instances where our products were installed on the house and somebody tried to get in and they couldn't get to the doors. And the thing is because it's part of the building code that you have to have a reinforced door. Most homeowners don't even know these products are on their house until somebody tries to get in. They're like, wow, that really held up well. Because, most homeowners, they're under the misconception that if you have a deadbolt on your door, your home is safe. But there have been so many break-ins across the country I don't know the exact percentage, but the majority of the time, they get in just by kicking open the door. And a lot of people talk about glass, but if you can go up and if one kick right to the door, walk through, close the door behind you, why would you break glass? Because you can.
The broken glass is going to give more.
There's more evidence now that
right.
somebody just broke in, but you kick a door open and close the door behind you, the door looks just like it did before because all the damage is on the inside.
Right.
So when they start kicking on the door that has our products on it, they're going to know pretty quick they're not going to get through that door, and it would take them an awfully long time to try to get through that door. And like I said, we haven't ever had a product failure, but we have had other instances of other products failing, either the door, the deadbolt, or the door itself.
Gotcha.
So, but we realize that not all deadbolts are created equally either. So
right.
We recommend a grade 2 or better. And I think they've changed the nomenclature from a grade 1, 2, and 3 to A, B, and C. So grade B or better. Actually the doors that we found hold up the best are the fiberglass. And the steel doors are great too, and because they're foam filled, they're insulated, and so when you kick on the door, that insulation absorbs some of the impact.
Right.
Now, a solid wood door, they hold up extremely well also, but you better have a good quality deadbolt on there because that's applying more of the impact directly to
that energy goes right to that jamb there.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So working with law enforcement, though, you've been able to prevent those incidences that break in, the assault or the burglary.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that law enforcement appreciates it too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, what it does is it gives them more time to respond. So what most law enforcement officers that have had any type of crime prevention training will tell you, the most important thing you can do first and foremost is to harden the target. And because what that does, somebody starts kicking on your door, if it hasn't been reinforced with our product or any other product, if it hasn't been reinforced, one or two kicks and the person's inside your house and they gain access so quickly you don't have time to respond. Now with the door being reinforced, they start kicking on that door, they're making lots of noise. And that gives you time to pick up the phone, dial 911. And a 911 call is an emergency response. And so they come lights and sirens. An alarm call, they got to call your verification list.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Anywhere from a 15 to 20 minute response time on average. And so, but if you want law enforcement there as soon as possible, your best bet is just to dial 911. And with the physical security on the house, now you have time to do that. And if you have a firearm in the house, now you can
arm yourself, protect
yourself in case they maybe try a different method to get in. And so, but by reinforcing the doors, which is the majority of the time how they get in, you have time to react.
Great. So you hear that, folks. When you have an alarm there, it doesn't do enough. You've got to protect and secure your house by making sure that door is secure. And that's what this product does. That's what you were able to innovate and kind of augment those systems and thresholds in people's homes. And now, as you said, it is part of the code, the building code.
Right.
So home builders they install it as they go in these newer homes.
Yeah. For single family and multifamily. And so, because,
also for multifamily.
Yeah. Yeah. And, there's a lot of crime that occurs in apartment complexes also. Crime doesn't know a specific address. It happens everywhere. And, even in the nicer neighborhoods, I hear stories of people leaving their car door unlocked and somebody getting into their car. What most people don't realize is if you have a garage door opener in that car,
now they have access.
They can open your garage door, and now they have access to your whole house.
Right.
So, and there's a lot of safety tips that we provide to homeowners. Hey, you want to think about this. So don't leave garage door openers. If your car is parked on the driveway all the time, don't leave a garage door opener in it.
Uh-huh.
And then the other thing I also found out is if you have the home link, in your car where you just push the button in your car, it'll open the garage door. That home link works whether the car is running or not. So if you're not parking your car in the garage, deprogram that and delete that home link. And so, because burglars aren't stupid, they're just lazy. They don't want to go get a job. And so, there's lots of other things that we talk to homeowners.
You educate folks on that. And that's very good information. Thank you for that. We're going to talk a little bit more about what you do as far as the community effort, because obviously you're in this as a business, but you also care about our community. And so there's some other steps that you've taken. So if you don't mind, when we come back, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
And we'll be right back, folks, right after this with our guest, Ron Olberling, and he is with Edward Wayne, I got it right, Incorporated.
Close, Oberding. Close.
I'm going to get it all right. By the end of this show, I'll get it all right. We'll be right back after this. Thank you very much.
Why did the onion cry? I don't know. Why did the onion cry? 'Cause he cut I don't know. Why was the Cyclops such a good teacher? Because he only had one pupil.
Hello and welcome back to Alegria in Kansas City. I'm your host, Fabian Shepard, and we are here with our guest, Ron Oberding. Got it right that time, folks.
Perfect.
Now, Ron, before we went to break, we were talking about your product that helps secure homes.
Yes.
You began your career as a home builder, and then after some tragic events that occurred in Overland Park, Kansas, there were 4 break-ins and sexual assaults. You were sought in help from the private sector to help the city and help law enforcement, and you were successful in doing that. Now this product is on the market, but you're not just selling this product. Obviously, it is a product that's commercial product, but you've gone one step further. You're offering it at no cost to certain individuals. Let's talk about that, please.
Yeah, so like I said, we work closely with law enforcement, and I love to help those guys as much as I can, but I can't physically go out and secure every door myself. And so I came up with the idea a few weeks ago to set up a 501c3 that will collect collect donations and use those donations to start securing the homes of law enforcement, active duty military, especially because they're on deployment for months at a time.
That's right.
And and also looking at helping with the rape and domestic violence victims, because and working with law enforcement, they see it every day. They deal with rape and domestic violence victims all the time, and they'd love to help them out because they're scared to death, and their home needs security. And
yes, sometimes those assailants come back.
Well, especially in domestic violence, because they don't really care who sees them. They're not like a burglar that's trying to be conspicuous and not be seen or anything. If they're enraged, they don't really care who sees them, and they'll do whatever they can to try to get in. And so any amount of delay that we can offer to allow either law enforcement to get there or allow them to maybe even go out a back door and go over to a neighbor's house, whatever they can do to keep that person on the outside as long as possible to allow them to escape or allow a police response is huge. I mean, it's huge in that aspect.
Gotcha. So the program offers this to active duty military who may be deployed. It also offers it to active law enforcement because there have been threats on law enforcement personnel lives, and we've seen some tragic events recently, like the shooting of the deputies in California. But in their homes too, there's concern for them, and would it be their families also when they're on duty?
Yeah, I mean they're being targeted, and law enforcement does a pretty good job about not having a lot of their personal information out there, but a lot of times their family members, children, their spouses, whoever, if they're on social media, a lot of times these guys can figure out where these officers live, and they have been targeted in the past. It wasn't that prevalent a long time ago, but it's becoming more and more prevalent, and so they need, I call it protecting our protectors. And because our military's out protecting our country, our law enforcement, they're protecting our communities. Who's protecting their families while they're out on duty?
Very good point. Very good point.
And so this is something now. We're just getting this. I mean, this is ground floor. We're just getting this whole thing started, and and I've already spoken with a few active duty law enforcement and some retired military about helping us grow this organization to start, working on bringing in donations and start securing these homes of these victims. And whether it's law enforcement, military, or even private sector, domestic assault or violence.
Sure. Now, can people help you with this? Is there a website or a phone number?
I don't even have a website set up yet.
There's no website yet.
So I don't even have the 501c3 set up yet, but we're in the process of doing that.
But they can contact Ron directly at Edward Wayne, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And we do have a website right now for Edward Wayne. It's called physicalhomedefense.com.
Physicalhomedefense.com.
Correct.
And that's your website.
Correct.
Now tell me that once you got this product designed, completed, it's been engineered into the materials that go into homes. Was it after that there were cities that said, hey, this is a good idea, let's make this code, or what was that process like?
Overland Park was the first city to adopt the ordinance, and it met some resistance, but I think people quickly realized that there was an absolute need to have these products because, and I hate saying this, but I think a 12, 13-year-old kid could go kick open a door with just a deadbolt on it because the materials they're using nowadays, and which it's a good thing because they're using finger jointed pine for their frames. They're recycling a lot of material, but it also makes for an inherently weak frame. And so they saw that there was a need for these products. And so Overland Park was the first one to adopt this code, and then just about every other city in the KC metro area has adopted this product. And it's even gone beyond the Kansas City area. Even though it's not required by code, we have builders down in Wichita that use it. They had an instance where they had 4 homes that they were just getting ready to close on with the homeowners. Somebody went in and kicked up in the door on all 4 homes and turned the water on and flooded the house.
Oh, heaven's sake.
And so the home builder, in working with one of my customers, Broad Building Supply, they told them about our product, and he goes, well, wow, let me try that. Let me put that on. They actually had a home that they had another attempted break-in, and they couldn't get through. I mean, they took a pry bar to it and everything, and they beat the heck out of it and couldn't get through. And it was a house that they were getting ready to close on. And there's a little bit of damage to the frame, some little repair work, but just some, Bondo and
that's a
sander.
far difference from flooding a house or 4 houses.
Exactly. And so now this home builder uses it on every home that he builds. And the other advantage is now the home builder, when he's building his home, he can throw a deadbolt on that door and lock it up while it's under construction.
Mm-hmm.
And so it not only protects the family, the end user, but also the builder while they're constructing the home.
Right.
Because there's a lot of construction site theft out there.
There is.
You see a lot of things, they have the appliances delivered, or the furnace and the air conditioner or whatever. They deliver that equipment, and, one kick, they're right to the door.
Right,
and
right.
that stuff's gone,
And I've heard about that happening too.
Yeah.
So is it just residential, or is this a product for commercial builds too?
Well, single family and multifamily housing. Commercial properties, they typically have like steel door frames and something that you wouldn't normally see in a residential application. But on commercial properties, they don't have it.
It's almost all wood.
Yeah.
Or fiberglass.
Yeah. The frames are usually all wood.
Okay.
But on a commercial building, they're steel frame doors. And
Gotcha.
I did just visit a business up in Lawrence a few weeks ago, and I happened to look down and notice they had our product on their door.
It's going to make you feel good.
Oh yeah. Now understand one other thing. When we designed all of our products, we wanted them to be as aesthetically pleasing as possible because we knew these were going to be going on expensive houses, middle income houses, and lower income houses. And
Sure.
but either way, we want to make sure it was aesthetically pleasing. So all of our products are completely hidden from view, with the exception of our escutcheon plate, which is the product that protects the edge of the door. It keeps the edge of the door from splitting out. And we actually even designed a new version of that. It just wraps around the inside face and around the edge of the door. It doesn't wrap around the outside. So it's on our website. So there's photos of it on there, and it's extremely strong at doing what it's supposed to do. But that's the only visible thing that you can see, and you can only see it on the inside. you can stand on the outside of a door that has our products on it and not even tell our products are on it.
That's great.
So
That's fascinating.
yeah.
Now, most of the entrepreneurs, most of the folks that do things like you do and have done, I mean, they've worked on these types of ideas and things all their lives. Were you like that when you were younger?
Entrepreneurial, you know, I mean, I studied mechanical engineering at K-State and then ended up getting my degree in business. But you know, I've always liked figuring out easier way to do things. And so in that aspect, yes, because I try to, if something was taking too long to do, okay, how can we do this easier?
Process improvement.
Yeah, and controlled obsolescence, I guess
Yes.
is what you could call it. But you know, and so so we, I've always had a mechanical nature about myself, and you know, being a home builder, I mean, we would actually construct the homes. It's very satisfying to see a pile of lumber and then 3-4 weeks later see what you've turned it into.
Sure.
And, you know, and you know, I've gotten a little old and a little slower. That's kind of a young man's game, and so I don't frame the houses in anymore. But and we used to go in and do all the trim work on the interior of the house. The staircases, the crown molding, the doors, and all that. And so I'm very well versed. Don't ask me to wire a house. I can't do that.
Now, and I don't know much about home building, so do you work with the architects, and are there engineers involved, and then the builder, or do you hire them yourself as the builder?
Yeah, I mean, there's architects, and a lot of the architects are licensed architects, and then there's also draftsmen that they'll come up with a concept and draw your house up, but then you have to have the blueprints engineered. So, but usually a licensed architect is going to have the engineering credentials. They can do all the engineering on the blueprints. And so a lot of times homeowners will contract with an architect to have their dream home drawn up, and then they present me with the plans and say, okay, let me know how much it's going to cost, which here lately has been
a lot of money.
Expensive.
A lot of money. And I've always seen some fascinating homes and wondered if the engineers or builders want to strangle the architects. Because things in concept.
No comment.
I mean, I see some things like, okay, they pulled that off, but I bet they were pretty mad about it.
And they've made a lot of progress in home building, and now they have contractors licensing, so you have to have licensed builders, and they are required to take continuing education classes. So, which I'm a licensed contractor, and so anyway, we've gone in and built homes before, and several years ago, they didn't even have to have engineered prints, and so the prints that we had to build this home for this homeowner, there wasn't a lot of detail on them, and so but all of my years of experience told me, okay, this is what we need to do here. And so we just went ahead and did it. And so we told the homeowner, look, I'm not an engineer, but you may want to have your architect and an engineer come out here and approve what we've done. And so the architect, who was a friend of the homeowner, he's looking at the blueprints and he's looking up at what we did, and did this a few times, and he goes, let me ask you guys something. He goes, how did you know how to do this from this piece of junk print?
Well, and you can get away with that, like in the country, rural areas.
Yeah.
You try to get away with that and incorporate it Overland Park. It's not going to work.
And but now even the rural areas are more strict on their on their blueprints, because they got to have specific engineering detail drawings on there, so where to run your supports for your roof and your steel beams, and so in this instance it was we had just put the reinforcement in there where we knew it needed to go, and so the engineer's like, I see no issues with this at all.
Well, you got to figure the Amish they're throwing up barns in like 4 hours, and they don't have any engineer out there.
Yeah.
So hey, you do what you know, right?
Yeah, and I've been doing it my whole life.
Exactly.
So I knew the proper way to do it, and so but we just wanted somebody to sign off on it. So.
Sure. And there's some liability in there.
Exactly.
I'm sure he had an attorney going, you did what?
Exactly. Yeah, and if you look at some of the initial prototypes of our door security products. I mean, it was a little overkill.
So before we get out of here, and I don't want to wrap up without you doing this, look right into that camera and tell the folks at home your website, and let's one more time remind them who you're trying to help with this.
Okay, the website is physicalhomedefense.com. We work with our local communities, and we're looking to start securing homes across the country with law enforcement, military, domestic violence victims, rape victims, through the 501c3. And so we know there's a huge need out there for this, and we're just trying to make America safe again.
Great. And one more time, that website is?
physicalhomedefense.com.
physicalhomedefense.com. We want to thank you for joining us. Thank you very much, Ron Olberding and Edward Wayne Incorporated.
Correct.
And physicalhomedefense.com to secure your home. I am your host, Fabian Shepard. We thank you for joining us here on Alegria in Kansas City. And we remind you that Alegria in Kansas City is a production of Exo Films brought to you by Televida KC.